Hey guys, so a lot of people don't know this about me, but in my free time, I actually rewrite a lot of resumes, and I worked with a lot of hiring managers, and I kind of know what they look for when they're looking at resumes. Of course, obviously, you always want to do what hiring managers look for. Here are some of the top things that I think are very, very important in terms of creating the perfect resume. So first thing is formatting. It is crazy how little time it takes for employers to make an impression on your resume. I think it's like less than 10 seconds for them to make an initial impression, and then less than a minute for them to decide whether they want to even just trash your resume. So it's really, really important to make sure it looks good. Definitely make sure your resume is not longer than a page, unless of course you have a crap ton of experience from years and years and years of work. It should not be longer than a page at all. I would pay attention to where your text aligns. So most often we want to see text align from the left side because that's where our eyes catch attention first. And then you also want to keep track of font. So you don't want your font to be inconsistent all throughout your resume, but you don't want it to be some boring, plain out text, you know? Try and make it match the formatting that you currently have, whatever that may be. So number 2, proofread your resume and make sure you don't have a single spelling mistake. It can make all the difference from an employer thinking that you really just don't even care about the job you're applying to actually even getting an interview, you know? So I would definitely proofread it, take your text, throw it on some Word and do some simple spell check. It's all the difference between getting an interview and not. Number 3, so of course you want to highlight your accomplishments, but I would definitely take an extra step and highlight your accomplishments by quantifying them. So you want to not only show the impact you made while working at an organization, you want to kind of put it into a tangible perspective. So you were a manager at a company and you produced X amount more results or 10 more new clients in the span of your first week being there. You know, so if you quantify your results, it definitely becomes a lot easier for employers to understand your impact at an organization and makes you that much more attractive to employers. Number 4, research your keywords. So this is all dependent on your industry. Of course, marketing keywords would be different than, say, if you're applying for something in the financial spectrum. But if you research the keywords specific to your industry, then you can avoid having your resume being tossed out just by running through some online program and somehow figure out how to incorporate those words in your resume. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, if you apply to larger corporations, now what they do is they just filter in your resume through softwares that pull out specific keywords. So they want to have these skill sets on their resumes that softwares can just automatically pull out. So if you miss specific keywords and you could potentially be the best candidate and miss specific keywords, and your resume is basically down the drain. So I would research your keywords and make sure you incorporate them. And number 5, this is probably the most important, aside from making sure you have good grammar, of course, but be unique. I think it's very, very important, especially this day of age where like work culture is very, very important, for employers to see the person they're hiring, to see your personality. And the best way to do that is to add a little bit of your unique personality in your resume. So if there is a specific way you want to format things or something you'd like to add about yourself, or I know in my resume I always put a picture of myself, and I've heard mixed things about having a picture on your resume, but that is what I choose to do, and I think it represents a bit of who I am, and I love photography, and to kind of display a portrait of myself that I've taken by myself, I think is unique to who I am. And I like to use a lot of colors, and of course don't go crazy, you're not handing in a rainbow, and of course it also depends on your industry. Like if you're applying for something in engineering or the financial spectrum, you don't want an array of colors everywhere, but I would say just do a little something that makes you unique, and it'll really shine through when employers are looking through your resume. And I think that's it for my tips. I wish you all the best of luck. I know that looking for a job is very, very hard. Take it one step at a time, take everything as a learning process, and don't get discouraged.